Make sure they can hear you.
Can y'all hear me? All right. Well, I am so happy you are here with me today. I'm so excited about sharing what I know about my quilting experience with you to make it easier for you when you either sit down or stand up at your machine. So we have a few questions that we're going to go over and we're going to answer. So what is the first question?
The first question was, what rulers do you use?
Okay.
Or where do you get your rulers?
Most of my rulers are Handy Quilter rulers, and I really like them because they have a lot of registration marks on them. Now, let me just step over here real quick and grab a few of these other ones. They come in different shapes, different sizes, so that you have a variety of designs that you can do with rulers on your quilt. This here is a curved ruler, and can you see the lines through there on the camera? Lots of registration. And what I like best, sorry about that, what I like best about this one is these straight lines here because it helps keep your ruler nice and straight as you're quilting. So when you learn to use rulers, you'll figure all that out. We have a ruler here that works really well doing a lot of orange peel or cathedral window designs, or not just that, but there are other designs you can do. Another curved ruler. If you are a beginner ruler, beginner with rulers, sorry about that, you might want to start out with the smaller ones. Like this is a straight edge. The straight edge rulers are really good for beginners to learn because all it is making a straight line. There's no curve or anything to that. So,
okay.
I hope that helps.
Okay, and then since we're starting at the long arm, and then you'll move over to the domestic.
Yes,
But so Kristen had a question. She's a lefty. She's a left-handed, and she had a question about left-hand quilting versus right-hand quilting.
Okay, well let's just go over that for a minute because now when I'm using rulers, I use both my right hand and my left hand. Sometimes it might feel a little awkward guiding the machine, you know, however, whatever's comfortable for you and whatever is easiest for you, that's how you need to use your rulers. The one thing is I do not have my ruler base on, so I am not going to use my rulers. You need to have a ruler base for your long arm or your short arm, and this one just slides right in here. Very easy to take on and off. Once I usually have that on, I hardly ever take it off.
That was another question. Someone said, can you leave it on?
You can leave it on.
Okay.
And I do for the most part. If my grips get in the way because I don't have enough backing, then I just add a little piece of fabric here. But you always have to have your grips on as well. Make sure of that because it keeps your quilt top nice and taut. You don't want it too tight. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But you can take it on and off. It's your preference on that. But please, please, always have your base on when you are using rulers.
Okay. All right. And then another question really quick, and then you can start your demo.
Okay.
Tina said she has a Millie APQS, and she has trouble getting the ruler caught under the needles, and then the needles break, and that's really scary.
That is scary. That's very scary. So the question that comes to mind for me is, what foot are you using? Do you have your ruler base on? Because if you don't have a ruler base on, you have nowhere for your ruler to sit. All it's doing is sitting on the machine part, which is very narrow, and your ruler can rock. And you do not want that. Another thing is, if you have a type of foot on like this, it has an open in it, it can cause it can cause some problems as well. So you always want to make sure that you have your round foot on. No opening in it. This is actually a ruler foot that you use with rulers. So make sure that your ruler base and the correct foot. Also too, even if you have your ruler base on and your foot is still getting caught jumping up on the ruler and breaking needles and such, it depends on how you're holding your ruler as well. So a lot of times I see people, and when I first started using rulers, I kind of had the same problem. But what happens is we are leaning, and I don't know if you could see this on camera, but I could stick my finger under there. It's not flat. So if you're leaning it to where it's going up either direction, you want to prevent that. You want to make sure that this ruler is completely flat on the ruler base. And you don't have to hold it real tight, because you need to be able to move the machine. If you're pressing down, it's a lot harder to get the design that you want. So it takes practice, and just take your time with it. It's not a race. That's another thing I have found. People get in a sorry again. People get in a hurry, and because we all want our quilts done. I understand that, but take your time, and as you get more experienced with rulers, you are going to get faster with it.
Carla says hi.
Hi, Carla.
And Brenda says she's watching from Kansas.
Oh, hi.
Catherine is watching from Minnesota.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow,
Oh,
we're in
that's
Texas,
good.
and it was warm yesterday and just got cold today.
Yeah, today it's like in the low 30s.
Charlotte, hi from New York. Oh, cool.
Oh, hello.
Melissa from Southwest Missouri.
Wow.
Do you want to start your demo?
Yes,
Let's
let me
see.
start the demo. And also, too, if you are a beginner at using rulers, I highly suggest a straight edge ruler. And the smaller rulers are a little bit easier to control at first.
Wait, this is too cool. Lori from Colorado, Becky from Montana, Carol from Ohio, Donna, California, Carla, Missouri, Michelle, Canada, Lucinda, Lucy, Florida, Penny, Canada, Kimberly, Richmond, Texas, Maria, Finland. Oh, wow, that's really far.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Catherine, North Carolina. Neat. Okay, I'm going to let you demo, and I'll come back if
All
more
right,
pop up. That's so
okay.
cool.
Let's get this demo going. So what I'm going to demo is stitching in the ditch. And I want everybody to understand, especially if you're a beginner, if you don't press to one side in your seams, you do not have a ditch to stitch in, because both of your seams go opposite directions and there is no ditch. If you press to one side, you have a little ditch. I don't know if my fingers show very well, but what I'm trying to say. But you can take your fingernail, and the low side is the blue right here. Okay? And the low side here is the white. But sometimes your ditches will flip, and that's okay too. Just always stay in the ditch. Always bring that bobbin thread up. Always lock in your stitches. Always check to see what your stitch length is, which I do have it on based right now, and that's not what we want. So we're going to take it off based. 12 stitches per inch. Anywhere from 11 to 12 stitches per inch is good for stitching in the ditch. I'm going to have to put my hand over here. So, okay, so what I'm doing is I've laid my ruler down. I've got my base on, very important, and I am holding the ruler firmly, not real tight. I'm not pressing. My knuckles are not white. And now I'm just going to watch where I want that needle to go and follow that ditch, okay? I'm not watching the needle. I'm watching where I want that needle to go. I come to a point, and if I need to adjust my ruler, always stop with your needle in the needle down position so you don't lose your place, because sometimes your machine can get away from you. Double checking my ditch here with my fingernail, sliding my ruler down and following that ditch. making sure that the edge of the foot here is always right up against my ruler. And with practice, lots of practice, you will get the feel of it. If you get off your ditch, get out of your ditch and come up on the high side of the seam here, don't worry about it. Just stop and just readjust and keep on going. The more you do this, the better you get, and that's with anything with quilting. So that's a little demo with rulers. If I'm not rocking it, so always make sure it's nice and flat and your foot is right up against. I want to do one more. I want to show one more thing. Let me come over to this ditch here. So if I want to go up, and maybe I want to be on this side of it, and that's fine too, whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so I'm just going to line my ruler up, take it nice and slow. And I just want everybody to know that I've been doing this for 20 years. I got up on the high side here. Not even going to worry about that. Once it's washed, everything's good. Okay, my ditch is on this side. Okay. And a lot of times people want to slide their ruler as they're stitching. That's fine if you're experienced. But if you're brand new at rulers, don't slide your ruler. Just stop and pivot your ruler and readjust and go. Okay. Any more questions?
Some questions. We have Mary from Michigan, Julie, Wisconsin, Beverly, Indiana, Diane, Kansas, another Diane, Mississippi, Moretta from Utah, Tina from Canada, Catherine, North Carolina. I think I've read everybody so far.
Okay, wow, that's awesome.
Okay, anything else to demo on long arm?
That's pretty much it with this. I'll be so glad when this cough is over. Now, again, the tips are, take your time. Make sure that ruler is nice and flat, and the foot of your machine is up against the ruler at all times. If you find yourself kind of not knowing where to go with your ruler or getting out of control a little bit, it will happen. Just stop and readjust. Again, it's not a race. Just take your time with it.
Okay. Hi, Vicki from Idaho.
Wow. Okay.
Do you want to demo a design with another ruler or anything before we move to domestic?
Yeah, let's...
And then if anybody has a question, you can type it in.
Okay.
On specific to long arm, and then we'll get over to domestic.
Okay. All right, so we did demo the straight edge ruler, which is one of the easiest rulers to use. But this one has different size curves on it. This is actually called the multi-clamshell. This has been a lifesaver for me in a lot of quilts, putting in designs. So if you, let's just, I'll do this on the blue so you can see a little bit better. It has a registration mark right here if I want to use this whole thing. And I can line that registration mark up with the seam, okay? And then I'm going to come back down my ditch here, travel over. Okay, now I'm going from right to left, which is fine. You can do that. But again, my ruler's nice and flat on the surface. I'm holding it nice and firm. And if your ruler slides while you're using it, just stop and just kind of readjust a little bit. And now I'm just going to keep the edge of the ruler right up against the edge of the foot, right up against that ruler. At the same time, making sure the line is lined up with the seam and just coming on around. Okay, so this particular ruler has these little areas right here, and that is my stopping point actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to my needle down, then I'm going to take this side of the ruler and I'm going to line it up. It's lined up with the seam, and now I'm just going to go on around. And I can continue to do this all the way across. And then I have a scallop design on my quilt. This is something that really looks nice on a border or on a sashing, and you can do it on a sashing because sashings are anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches. So it has the different sizes that you can adjust. So just be patient with your rulers, have fun with it. Also too, once I get a design in, I'm going to freehand. I can freehand in here. So I love rulers as a base for my design as well as just designs. And now I'm going to just freehand some feathers using the ruler design as my stem for the feathers. Can they see this really well?
Let's do it in the blue to see it better.
Okay. Here we go. We're going to go in the blue now. And again, feathers are beautiful on quilts, and they take time to learn how to do those as well. But now I've got a base right here for my feathers, and I filled in this area with the feathers to create a design. Okay. Sorry once again there, but rulers, you know, rulers will say on the package sometimes you can do this design and this design and this design, and that's fine. Use what's on the package on how to make the different designs, but I've been using rulers for so long now. Is when I get to when I'm doing a quilt, I have mine hanging on a pegboard so I can see them nice and easily, and decide which ruler am I going to use today for this area over here to create a certain design. So make up your own designs.
Okay. We'll say hi to Diane from Mississippi, another Diane from Kansas, to Beverly Harden from Indiana.
Beverly.
And then I think there was a question. Let me find it. Hi, Julie from Wisconsin, Mary from Michigan, Vicky from Idaho. Oh, I think I maybe read some of these.
I love this.
Yeah, I know, it's neat.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Because I know y'all want to learn, and I'm willing to share. I just want everybody to be able to use their machines the way they want to use them to quilt their projects.
Doreen said, what's the best ruler to start with? I think you did say the straight edge?
I did.
Okay.
The straight edge ruler is a really good ruler to start with, and the smaller one, if you're not familiar with rulers, the smaller rulers are easy because they're easier to handle. When I first started 20 years ago, I didn't know how to do feathers. I didn't know how to do anything. And I thought, well, I'm going to learn how to use rulers because it can get a design on a quilt real quick. So I started with a straight edge ruler because that's all I had at the time. And I learned how to do cross hatching with it. So all you're doing when you're doing cross hatching is, I'm going to use a larger ruler for this because we have a larger space here. But I'm going to go from point all the way down to point here, and this is going to be totally continuous, and you can do it differently if you want to. And you always want to leave, like if I want to hit this point right here, I'm going to leave 1/4 inch because you have 1/4 inch from your needle to your ruler. Just holding my ruler nice and firm. If I feel like I need to adjust, I'm going to slow down or stop. If you're new, just stop. Okay, so I've got my first line here. I'm going to travel up my ditch. Okay, and I have up to the edge here would be 1/4 inch. This line, if I put this line on the stitch line, that's going to be 1/2 inch, and this other line is going to be 3/4 inch. Now there are rulers that have more than one line on it. So I'm going to do the 3/4 inch, and I'm going to line it up with the 3/4 mark right on top of those stitches. And then I'm going to hold my ruler nice and firm and just move it all all the way up to the top. Okay? And now I am going to travel in my ditch. If I overshoot that, no worries, and I did, I'm just going to go back a stitch or two. That's it. So it's totally continuous. And I'm just going to do this real quick. Always making sure that your ruler is staying on that stitch line. I overshot that. Back up a little bit. Let's go. And okay. And I'm telling you that the more you do this, the faster and easier this is going to be. Now, I've come to this corner here, so I want to go this way to create my cross hatching. I could put my ruler on this side, or I can put it on this side. Whatever's more comfortable for you. This side is a little bit more awkward, so I'm just going to go up into that corner, travel over to that corner, and bring this down. All the way down. Now I'm going to travel on the edge, make my 3/4 mark here, make sure it's nice and lined up, holding it nice and firm. I'm not watching the needle. The one thing I am watching is I'm making sure that my ruler line is staying right on there. My ruler is flat on the surface, and my foot is up against the ruler. Seems like a lot, but the more you do this, the easier this gets. If you need your ruler to travel down in the ditch, which I highly advise, especially if you're new at this, then do so. So, now, I've got a little bit of cross hatching done. So now I would come over here, and I would go this way. And I would end up down here, and then I would go back up this way. So it's all one shot, no cutting thread, just traveling in the ditch to get to the next area that we need to go to. Cross hatching is a good one to learn for beginners with a straight edge ruler. I have another tip for cross hatching as well. Masking tape, there's little arrow stickers you can buy, whatever you want, but good old masking tape. I love my masking tape. I just take a piece of masking tape, and what I'll do is that was 3/4 inch, and so I don't forget, I'm going to line that masking tape so I know that this is the line that I need to line up with my stitched line to get that 3/4 inch. When I first started, I didn't use tape. I didn't think about using tape, and I wanted to do a 1/2 inch crosshatch, and some of the crosshatch was 1/2 inch, some of it was 3/4 inch, because I wasn't concentrating on the correct line of the ruler to be using. So keep that in mind when you're crosshatching, okay? Because we don't want to take out those stitches. Okay, so for domestic machine, when using rulers, I have some really good tips for that.
And we're going to say hi to Carol in Minnesota, hi to Patty in Florida, Leslie in the UK,
Oh my.
Joss in Canada, Phyllis in California, Liz in Texas, Mary in Tennessee, Kathleen in Colorado, Adrian in Plano. Oh, that's Texas. You're a neighbor.
Wow.
Carol wants to know if you can demonstrate a tight scallop. I have one ruler that's set up for corners, and it has a small, fairly tight scallop. I had to unpick as it didn't come out very well. So we can go back to that in a second.
Okay.
Hi to Bonnie in Minnesota. Brenda says, I really appreciate your demo. You make it look so easy, and it gives me confidence that I can do it. Seeing the different designs that can be made with the rulers is helpful too. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and with that said, I just want to say that you're not going to know unless you do it and you practice. So that's the key right there. You know, you do have to practice this.
Okay. And you can get back to the tight scallops in a minute?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I have my ruler foot on here. I want you to zoom in here, and these you do not use when using rulers, okay? These are different types of feet that go to my attachment here. This here, can you get a close-up of this? This is a ruler foot, and my ruler is 1/4 inch thick, and that is another thing I want to say is your rulers need to be 1/4 inch thick, okay? I know there's some rulers out there that are thinner, but if you have the proper foot for those, you shouldn't have any problem. 1/4 inch thick ruler, 1/4 inch thick ruler foot. And again, we're just going to line it up, okay? First of all, we want to make sure that our thread is inside the foot, not on the outside.
Hi, Jeannie Marie from New Mexico and Carol from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Okay, and I'm going to lock in my stitches here. Need to get my foot going right. Okay. Okay, so I've got my stitches locked in, tiny, tiny stitches, and my needle in the needle down position. Okay, always. Always on a domestic, especially domestic. If you don't have a needle down position, use your little wheel when you stop. Okay, so you're gonna hold your ruler nice and firm, and you're just going to, now you feel like you're going to need about 4 hands to do this. It's a little bit harder on a domestic than it is a long arm. So we need to make sure that that ruler stays nice and straight, and the foot on the machine is right up against that ruler. And stop in the needle down position. And readjust. And go. Oh, my machine just came unplugged. Okay. Alright, and go. Alright, I have a little tip for you when using rulers on a domestic. May not be for everybody, but when I use rulers on a domestic, this is what I do. So I have my ruler, and was it last week we did a video?
Yeah.
And I have my palm paddles, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide this over. And if I want, I'm going to do that 3/4 again. Okay, so I've got on the 3/4 mark on my ruler here is right on top of those stitches. Well, now it's really easy for your ruler to slide, more so on a domestic than on a long arm. So I take my palm paddle, I just lay it right here on top of the ruler and on the quilt. And it holds everything in place, and I put the palm paddle here. Now this helps. Now what I'm watching is making sure that everything is nice and flat, and when I come to an area where I need to stop, needle down, slide my ruler, get my palm paddles back in position, and go. And now we have...
Melissa loves the paddles.
All right, I do too. I do too. We have a 3/4 inch gap right there. Piano key, whatever you want to call it. But you can use these with your rulers. Just make sure that when you get close to them, that you're going to have to stop with the needle in the needle down position and move on, readjust. There we go.
So we'll go back to the scallop one, but then also just there was another question.
Okay.
Phyllis wanted to see how you use rulers to make feathers, and
well, let me go.
Oh, and Carla asks, do you lower the feed dogs for domestic? Question for stitch regulation.
Yes, on your domestic machine, for free motion, you always need to lower the feed dogs. If you're stitching in the ditch on a domestic, you can use a walking foot and have your feed dogs up. But for free motion, definitely lower your feed dogs. If you have a stitch regulator on your domestic machine and you're familiar with it, use it. I like free motion totally on my domestic, so that's just what I prefer. So you have to find what works best for you. So, okay.
Do you want to do the feathers first or the scallop?
Let's do the scallop first.
Either.
So what was the one on the scallop?
Let me go back and look.
Yeah. I'll do it over here on this one.
On the domestic. She said, can you demonstrate a tight scallop? I have one ruler that's set up for corners, and it has small, fairly tight scallops. I had to unpick as it didn't come out very well.
Okay, so probably what happened is, I'm guessing, you can comment and let me know if I'm right or if I'm wrong. That's fine too. But they didn't come out even. And that's kind of an issue when you're trying to do something on a border from corner to corner. So I'm going to try to help you a little bit here. And it still may not come out, but that's okay. Because you can, what I call fudge, okay? Fudge. All right. When you're doing scallops, or anything on a border where it needs to be symmetrical, which it won't be if you're doing it free motion and you're using rulers. There's just no way it's ever going to happen. But you can make it look like it does. Start from the center of your quilt. Find the center of your, let's just say your border. Okay? So when you find the center of your border here, you're going to start your scallop.
Carol says it was just her first try, and she's sure she needs to practice a lot more, and it was on a long arm. So.
Okay, good. So start from the center of your border. And when you start from, this is the bottom border, let's just say. It's really not a border, but we're just going to say. Start from the center. So if you have to mark your centers before you load your machine on the sides and on the tops, by all means do so. But you start from the center on all 4 borders. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of rolling involved. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to make our, do I need to stitch this or just explain it?
You can stitch it.
Okay, so we're just going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is my center. Make sure you're in the center. And around.
She said it was about the size of the little one on your ruler. Do you want to do a smaller, tighter one?
Sure. Absolutely. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if it's a large, if it's just arcs. It doesn't matter. Starting from the center of your border, working out to one edge, and then working out to the opposite edge. And it's going to come out pretty close. If your quilt top is pretty square. If your quilt top is not square and you're finding that's happening on one side or the other, then what you need to do is let me make this one here. Here's the scallop, and you can use different size scallops. You know, you don't have to use the same size all the way across. Move that on over. And we're going to keep going. And if I find when I get over to the corner that it's going to be off a little bit compared, let's just say we have maybe 10 scallops on this side. And this one, 9.5. Oh, what's going to happen? Okay, well, that's when you start to fudge, okay? So what I'm going to do is I may have to increase or decrease, you know, it just depends. You're going to actually need a ruler with this too. But if I need to like increase maybe a couple of stitches, I'm going to have a little gap between my scallops. But the end result, when I get to the other side, I don't know what happened there. There we go. The end result, it's going to look more even if you do a little bit of fudging when you're putting in those scallops. And it's not just your scallops. Let's go to the feathers, okay? Because same thing. Let me go get my feather ruler real quick. These are perfect for putting in a stem for feathers. Okay, so I have different sizes here, depending on, I hope that answered her question with the scallops. But
she said that's a good suggestion.
Okay, good. So you'll do that on all 4 borders. Start from the center, working out to the corners. And the same thing if you're putting feathers on a border. Start from the center, okay? You could start from the center of the ruler. You could start from the edge of the ruler, but wherever you start, you want to make sure it's going to be the same. Now, excuse me. This method works really good if the quilt is, let's say the quilt is 36 by 36, 72 by 72. It is square, okay? It works out a lot better that way than if it's more of a rectangle quilt. You're probably going to have to do more fudging with a rectangular quilt. So, with that said, what I do with a rectangular quilt is I, again, start from the center with my wave. This is a handy quilter. This is a wave D ruler. Love, love, love it. Wiggle wave, and a wave F. All right, so different sizes for different areas, or however you want your design to look. Starting from the center, just like we did with the scallops. So I'm going to cut this real quick. And okay, so we're going to start from the center, and I'm just going to start from the low point on this, and I'm just going to go all the way. And on this particular ruler, there's a stopping point. There's a line right here and a line on this side, which is a stopping point. Needle down, readjust, line up to this line right here. If I'm on the low side, make sure everything's nice and straight here, and travel all the way across. Now, when I get to the corner here, I stop early, especially if it is a rectangular quilt. I stop early. So I just cut my thread here. I'll lock it in and cut my thread here. And if I do need to take some stitches out, which normally I do, I have to take out a few, or sometimes I might have to add a few when I get done. So when I do this side, I'm going to do this side. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to roll my quilt and start from the center here and come down this way, come down this way. And I'm going to stop at a certain point. And then I'm going to take another ruler, and it could be any ruler, whichever one works best for you. And then we can maybe take this one here, and we're going to line it up with our stopping point here and our stopping point here, and just circle all around. And if that one doesn't work, well, let's try this one and see how this one works. All right, and then connect the two. Okay? Once you've done that all the way around, and it might seem a little bit difficult, but once you do this, it's a real game changer to get that that stem around your border so that you can go ahead and put your feathers on. So that's a technique that I came up with for my different needs, and that's why I have a variety of different rulers. And one of the reasons, so that I always have something that is going to work.
Do you want to stitch just a few feathers?
Sure.
With using the ruler?
Yes. So I'm going to, oh, and also too, I want to point out, I worked from the edge here, but your stem, let's just say this is your border. So when you're doing your stem, you want to try to get your your stem in, kind of in the middle, as close as you can to in the center of your border here. You don't want it way down here like I demonstrated. Sorry about that. Just was not thinking there. But so let's just start from the center here. Locking in my stitches. And another way to find your center too is you can put a basting line across here, or with stitches, or you can mark your center and you can line up the line on your ruler to keep it nice and even. Okay, so here we go. All right, so I have a lot of curves here, so keep it nice and straight. Come to the I always stop at a at a measurement line whenever I need to readjust. Move my hands, make sure everything's lined up. I come to the end right here, which there is a line right here, and this is my end point, and it says needle stop right here. So, and that's one of the reasons why I like the Handy Quilter rulers, is because of that. I'm going to line the needle stop right here. I'm going to line that line up with my needle as close as I can. It's not going to be perfect. And then continue on. Now, let's just say I want to stop right there. So that's where I'm going to stop. So, let's get some feathers in there. All right. I want to take these rulers off. Try not to have a bunch of rulers laying on top of your quilt top. It kind of causes some tension sometimes when you're freehanding. So, so here we go. Can you see? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to follow the stem when I do my feathers. So here we go. I can do both sides at the same time if I want to. Or I can do one side at a time and then come back and do the other side. It's just whatever you want to do.
Can you travel up the stem and do it on the blue instead?
So.
Linda says, what a great idea to stop before the end horizontally and vertically, and then to use a curved ruler to connect.
Yes. It works out really well. And sometimes, there have been times when I wasn't able to find a ruler that worked, and so I would just kind of freehand that, joining those two together.
Carol asks, do you have the flat plate on the long arm to hold the quilt flat? She says she can't remember the name of the plate. Is that she talking about the ruler base?
On the long arm? No. I do have
underneath the ruler base.
I do have, the ruler base is still on. And if I know that I'm going to do a lot of ruler work on a quilt, especially, I hardly ever take my ruler base off, but if I know I'm going to do ruler work, free motion work, computer work, whatever, I just leave the ruler base on. It's not going to hurt anything. The only thing it is going to hurt sometimes is if your clamps are too close, because sometimes your clamps will run into, because my ruler base ends right here.
She said that's it. Yeah,
Yeah. So either get some kind of attachment for your clamps. Always have your clamps on though. And I use these a lot.
Cindy asks, how would you use the ruler to leave an open stem?
An open stem? Very easily. So let's do that, okay?
And then this might be our last demo because we got to get you to your appointment. But
okay, all right. So let's do another.
I'm trying to make sure you're on the blue. It's just easier to see.
Yeah. Okay. So an open stem. Okay. Let me just get up here real quick. All right. So I'm going to start. And I'm just going to end right here. Okay, you can go as far as you want. But if I want to open stem, and I'm hoping this is what you're meaning. So what I'm going to do is I want to come out from a point right here. So I'm just going to tilt my ruler. I'm going to tilt my ruler just a little bit, and I might have to move it a little bit as I go. And then I'm going to line the edge of the ruler up with a stitch mark right here, okay? So it comes out of a point, making sure, and it's not going to be perfect, I can tell you that right now, just play with it. So when I get over to this point over here, I'm going to rock my ruler this way so that I come down into a point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Carol.
So it's just a matter of rocking your ruler a little bit.
Rock the ruler.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I do that a lot. So,
Okay.
okay.
Carol says she likes adding the extra fabric on the clamps. All right, I think
Me too.
that's it. If anybody has questions, they can comment here and or email Jackie or info@jackiesmachinequilting.com. If anybody ordered a panel, those were shipped on Friday, so those should be coming. But we had more orders the days right before and after Christmas, and those will be shipped this week. Mm-hmm. So if we shipped your panel, you'll get an email later today knowing that it's in the mail. Carol says thank you for the demo.
You're also welcome, and thank you for being here. I'm so I'm just excited about sharing what I know with everyone. So I want everyone to be very successful at what they're doing with their quilting.
Carla asks, when's your next demo? You want to do another one next week?
Yeah, why not? Let's do another one.
Okay.
So don't know what it's going to be yet, but yeah.
Well, they could comment on this and lots of thank yous and fabulous and loved it. They could comment on this and give us ideas of what they want, and then you could.
Okay. Yeah, that
Hot
absolutely.
topics.
Yeah, just let me know what y'all wanna see, because I'm so willing to share it, and I hope that my cough is gone by then.
Debbie asks, will this be available in replay? Yes. I think it takes Facebook a minute. It'll put it up. But if you're on Jackie's email list, you'll also get, we're going to also put it on YouTube, and we'll send out the replay via the email, but it'll also be on Facebook. So you can watch it again and again.
All right. This has been fun. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much, and everybody have a Happy New Year.
Yep. All right.